The number one myth I hear from my sisters when we are consulting is about black skin don't crack. However you want to phrase it, black don't crack, the melanin don't crack. Commonly held belief that black women basically don't get wrinkles. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say this is true, and it is only true to a limited extent. We do not get wrinkles as early as our non-melanated counterparts, and that is a gift of melanin, but also genetics and lifestyle come into play here. Highly melanated people don't have as much fine lines and wrinkling, that surface wrinkle that you see where people just have lines all over their face does not really happen in aging to Black people in the same way that it does to someone of, say, Caucasian descent. Over time, what happens, though, our faces do age, they sag. So it takes a longer time for that to happen. But what I typically end up seeing is women in their like 70s who come to me, and this is the first facial rejuvenation treatment that they are even seeking in their lives. Let that sink in, that they do have such good inherent aging processes going on, and their skin is well taken care of or overall just in good condition with those other factors, that really they're starting to notice it in their late 60s and 70s, where what's happening is the face goes from being kind of V-shaped to almost like triangular shaped. And you go from having this volume in the cheeks, and then it kind of comes down to a little point or a smaller, narrower angle at the bottom of their face. Well, as we age, that triangle gets completely reversed. And that's how you start to see jowling and, just that kind of loose tissue around the chin and neck area. That line gets real blunt and is no longer sharp. There's looseness of tissue around the nasolabial fold area, where you will start to almost see a deep wrinkle form here. And that wrinkle will sometimes connect with a fold here around the chin. And that's what we call a marionette line, because that's that part of those old time puppets that would move, and it makes it look like that. That's the more common pattern of facial aging I see with Black women. The best thing to do to counter that in terms of treatment. So there's everyday stuff like hydration and using sunscreen and good skincare. And that good skincare includes not only your daily skincare, but your maintenance routine with your aesthetic provider, be it facials and, all those things. On top of that, once we start to age, because it's a subtle thing, again, it's not like you're suddenly having crow's feet everywhere. It's going to be subtle, and it's going to happen over those 30s, 40s, and 50s. And you'll really start to be able to notice it, the average person, by like your 60s. What you can do to treat that and be subtle about it is fillers. And they've come to me in their late 70s or mid to late 70s. It may be too late for fillers to really be the end all be all. And that's the person who I'm going to counsel them that they're not going to get really a lot of bang for their buck and their investment with fillers, and they're not going to get the desired outcome, that we're going to have to do something a little bit more invasive for them. So fillers I'm really recommending for people on the, in the like 40s, 50s spectrum of things, where you're just starting to see those changes. The reason I think it's important to start then is because fillers do have a collagen building aspect to them that, over time you need less and less. You should never be injecting, for example, more and more filler. You should be injecting less and less, because that residual filler is helping to hold up. It's acting like scaffolding for that mid face area and keeping that from deflating all the way back to no filler state. I do get a lot of pushback of, well, I'm not supposed to touch my face, and I think the point I'm trying to make is less is definitely more. And with filler, you can start low and go slow. And you can just do a little bit at a time until you arrive at a point of correction that you're comfortable with. If you don't want to have 6 syringes of filler shoved in your face at one visit, then don't. I'm not going to touch you up earlier than 21 days out. You need a few weeks to let it settle. There's going to be some swelling, and then we see what we've got and we see if we need to add more. Most people who have had these corrections are so happy with the change because it is an immediate effect. When you have it done in the office, you can actually see the difference pretty quickly, unlike Sculptra and fillers like that, where you need to give it some time. You definitely get to see the effect of that tissue kind of filling back up and just looking more youthful. One of the people that I think is a great example of tasteful, beautiful fillers done in Hollywood is the beautiful Miss Angela Bassett. She looks ageless. She looks timeless. People call her a vampire. They say, like, she looks so great. And she does. And she's in her late 60s. I've had a lot of people like make it impossible for me to focus on her acting when I went to see Mission Impossible because so many people were telling me that this lady had a facelift. So I'm over here in the movie theater trying to focus and really trying to stare at and then look for the signs of a facelift. And I have to say that short of me meeting her in person and getting to examine her, I really don't believe that she had a facelift. I believe what she had was tasteful fillers done and most likely some minimally invasive facial skin tightening with something like Morpheus 8 or an Renuvion, something that is going to add that heat energy, that radio frequency energy to the skin to tighten it up and basically just, shrink it back, shrink wrap it a little bit. Is not a direct substitution for a facelift. But if, like someone like Angela Bassett, you are doing these things along the way and you're not waiting till you're 68 to go, oh, I've aged, now what? Then the changes are going to be so subtle that everyone really can't put their finger on why you look so good at 70. They're just going to think you just aging super duper well. And the fact is that, yes, she is aging well. She is aging resourcefully. She is using the resources at her fingertips to ensure, the Botox, the fillers, the minimally invasive procedures, and the, vampire facials, all of those things work together. And in Hollywood, there's nobody who's like not doing this in Hollywood. And even in reality TV world, because these things work and they're subtle and they give good results without drastically changing your appearance. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I think she looks great. It's all about maintenance and starting before you really see the aging, like right there in front of you in the mirror. So that was part 1 of my little series on busting these myths about Black women, our skin, and aging, and giving you guys super good information to help you decide what aesthetic treatments, if any, are right for you. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Look forward to the discussion. Bye.